Howdy folks, this is Justro at Metcalf Mills bringing you Story Time Tuesday. And this one today is near and dear to my heart. I hope you enjoy it. Today's video is a 1 year anniversary, a sad anniversary. And it has to be Story Time Tuesday. And that is 1 year ago today is the day that my mother passed away. And I'm going to do today's Storytime Tuesday about her and do it in honor and remembrance to her. She was a wonderful person. Everybody that knowed her knowed that. And she was raised in a family with 10 children. I was 7 girls and 3 boys. And they was all close and all good. I love all my aunts and uncles. There's a few of them gone now, but they were all wonderful. And their mother, my mama, I never did get to meet, but I imagine she was a big part of making them the way they was, and they were all just wonderful. But mother, like I say, she growed up with 9 brothers and sisters, and she was married at 14. And the way they did that, let's get this up here, you can see her there. I guess that's maybe one of her school pictures. Maybe close to the time she got married, probably, but anyway, her and Daddy married when she was 14, and Dad had just turned 19, and Mom was about to turn 15, and 3 months she would have turned. Within 3 months after they got married, she turned 15. And the way they done that, I've heard them tell this story many a time. They had one of Mom's sisters write a note like she was Mom's guardian, giving Mother permission to get married at that age. And they had it made up till Mother would meet Dad that morning, and they'd go get married. And that morning, Mother said she got up early, and I can't remember where she said she was going. But anyway, she took off down the road and met Dad, and they went over to Burnsville. There's a store over on the square. Troy McCurry had a store over there, and he was a preacher, and he married them. Right there in the store, there's 2 people in there shopping, and they was the witnesses. And after they left, they said they went somewhere and parked beside the road and got out, and they decorated their own car and drove around, and I think seemed like they went to Hendersonville or somewhere and stayed the night. And I remember when they said when they come back home, Papa, Mother's daddy, they had told something. They had told them what they had done, and he said, "Where's my limb?" I believe's what he said, but I think he was glad to get Dad, because I think him and Daddy got along good, and they I remember they rented a old house up the road here when they first got married. Then they lived with my grandpa and grandma for a while they was building their house. And when they built their little house, the house where I was raised until I was about 7 years old, it's still down here, but when they was building that first part of that house, it was just a square with 4 rooms. They tore an old house down, and I may have told y'all this before, but I'll tell you again. And they cleaned nails out of the lumber to use to build their house, and they got their house built. And they had my brother in '64, Joe, and in '72, my sister Tammy, and '84, me. And mother she was always just so good, and I remember as far back as I can remember, she made everything special. And that's one thing I think is very important to a family. If the mother, takes the time and, is able to pour out that love, to everybody that needs it around her. And mother could do that. And I remember through my life talking to her. She would, if you was sitting there talking to her, she would, like, I could see her mouth moving, and she would be repeating what I was saying, but she wasn't speaking, but she was repeating the words I was saying to her. And this is when I was, real young, all the way up to, older. It's just like she wanted to, I know she wanted to hear every last word I had to say, but it seems like it was more than that. She just absorbed as much as she possibly could what you was telling her, And she was a good nanny to all her grandkids and great-grandkids, and all of her grandkids she had a hand in raising as well. And they all loved her, and she loved them, and she took care of them just like her own. And when I was growing up, my parents kept foster kids, and I lived here at the time, and the boys that came here and lived during that time, Mom treated them just like she did me. And she had a way of doing that till it never felt like I was loved any less. And now being older, I can understand. She had enough love for everybody. And I still am in contact with one of the boys that her and Dad gave a home to here, one of the foster kids that she kept for a pretty good while. And he still will tell you that my mother was the closest thing to a mother that he ever had in his life, and he loves her dearly still. And she was the kind of person, if somebody called and said we was going to come and see you this evening or whenever, she would get excited, and most of the time. She'd already be cooking a meal, or planning on cooking a meal. I'll ask, what would you like to have to eat, or I'll bake us a cake, or something like that. That's just how she was. She just wanted to love everybody that she could and be as good to everybody as she could. And she proved that. She proved that by what she done and how she done it. And she was a great example to me and my brother and sister about what a mother, or how a mother can be, and that's something that you'll never repay, or the way you repay that to me is for me to repay my mother for all the things she taught to me and all the love she gave to me. The only way I can repay that is if I give no less to my own children, to my girls. And if I start judging myself, I probably ain't gonna make that. But my girls are happy with me, and they love me, and I love them, and from what they tell me, I couldn't do no better, but to me, that's the only way I could repay Mother, is to share that same love that she shared with me. And Mother meant a lot to my daughter Virginia. She's been a big part of Virginia's life, pretty much all her life. And we were always around close. And later on, we stayed with my parents quite a bit. And it didn't matter what or when, she was always there to listen to you. And it didn't matter who you was either. She had her beliefs, but she didn't mistreat nobody because of the way they was or something like that. She had her beliefs, but her love was more. Her love covered. And I've seen her, people that's, maybe not been so good to her or somebody else in the family or something like that. I've seen her treat them just like they had done nothing wrong or nothing, She just had that kind of love that her judgment did not overtake her love. Her love ruled her life and her faith. And I just can't say enough about what an example she was. And my dad was diagnosed with cerebral palsy in 1990, I guess he had had it all of his life. If you watched my video about Dad talking about when he was born, I'd say that's why that he had that cerebral palsy. And he was diagnosed in 1990, and he later on quit working a job, and he was around a lot because he didn't work when I was getting older, and then later on I finished school at home, and me and him got to spend a lot of time together and do a lot of things. And if you watch my video of him and Metcalf Mills, he helped me along, and with my interest and what I cared about, he went out of his way to help me and encourage that. And that's why I'm here today. And as the years went on, not to get off talking about Dad, but it's about mom. It's about Mom. After he got sick, and he just progressively got worse over the years, and he finally got to the point that he couldn't walk through the house on the last. And Mother took care of him the last several years as good as anybody could take care of a sick husband. And she always put his needs first, and she took care of him. And they was, so close and just loved each other so much. And in 2017, Mother got diagnosed with cancer. And it was in the bottom of her colon. And she said she didn't want to go through treatments and all that stuff. She had seen people go through that and what it done to them and stuff, and she didn't want to go through all that. And I said, Mother, it's your choice, it's your life, and it's your body, and whatever you want to do, it's your choice, and nobody ain't gonna, influence you to do one way or another and make it hard on you to make this hard choice. And she done real good till 2020, and that's when it started really wearing on her and getting her down, and she got sick in the fall of 2020, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and she made it till the first day of February, a year ago today. And a friend of hers that she'd went to church with for years when she passed away, she had asked for just a pine box to be built for her, and Mother asked me to do that for her. She said, if you can, will you just build me a box to be buried in? And I said, yes, I will, Mother. If I can, I will. And I didn't know if I'd be able to do that or not. And after she got really bad sick, and she was hurting so bad she had to be medicated, and she really wasn't with us there on the last for a while. I finally started working on that for her, and it's hard to do, especially when somebody is still alive, but when and you've seen them suffer so much and hurt, and they ain't going to be here long, and I guess that, it helped me to be able to do that. But she passed away on the first day of February. She didn't want to go to the funeral home and all that, so we honored her wishes, and in the old mountain fashion, she stayed at home, and the girls and the family, they all, my sister and her daughter and my nephew's wives, they all helped and got Mom fixed up and dressed up real nice. And when I got done working on her casket, which I worked one night, I worked all night down there in the shop, and it was in the low 20s that night, and I had both big doors open on each end of the shop, and the air was moving through there, and it was cold. I mean, when it's that cold, it's hard to work in there. You get so cold. But I worked all night, and I didn't get cold or shiver, not one time. Not one time. And I didn't finish it. I had to work on it another day after she passed away. But there ain't too many people, I don't know of anybody that can say, and I'm not bragging on myself, I done just what my mother asked me to. It's her wishes, and that's what I done. I don't know anybody that can say they spent their 37th birthday building a casket for their mother. And I'm honored to do that, and I'm thankful that I was able to do that for her. And I was thinking, 37 years ago today, this is last year I was thinking this, 37 years ago today, she labored for me. And today, I labored for her. And yep, I've been there and done that. But it was all for her. And I done the best I could, and I know that she'd be pleased with that. And if I can, if I feel like it's all right thing to do, I'll try to add some pictures on of the casket I made for her. If I can figure out how to do it, I'll have those at the end of this video so you can see if you want to. And if you don't have to watch it. But I done that with Dad as a tribute to my dad. I made a video on that. Some friends said, you need to do that. You ought to do it. So I did. I didn't think I should at first, but I don't know, that it might have helped somebody, and it may help and encourage somebody else that sees it. So to me, it's about the last thing that you can do for somebody, and it was about one of the last big things I could do for my mother and dad, and I'm thankful that I was able to do that, because they was so worth it. They was just treasures, and they still are, and they always will be. Something else I got reminded of this morning, I got a call from a lady, and I hadn't talked to her in years, and she said, Justin, she said, I quote you a lot. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, she said, one time, Justin, you told me that life is lived at home. And she said, I quote you on that all the time. And you think about it, your home, if that's the center of your life, and if it's rich, like, you know, it has that love there that's like I was fortunate enough to have in my home, that's a basis and a foundation for you to carry that on to your own children, in your own life, in your own home. And good homes, I firmly believe, make good people. And my parents' faith, they were so strong in their faith. And but that reminded me what this lady said. And this is credit to my mother. This video is about my mother. This is credit for her. I want my channel to, whether we're canning or growing stuff, that's all from my mother. That's all because of her. That's where I learned it. Where I got the love instilled in me for that. And I hope that my channel will help other people to share in these same things if they don't know how, if they didn't have a mama, if they didn't have that kind of home, or whatever. That's really what I hope my channel can do, is to help people. And, you know, my mother's love is not contained just to those that knew her. If you learn these things from me, well, I learned it from her, and she taught me that because she loved me. And I want to share that with everybody that I can. If it helps you, helps your family, that's good seed. And if it's sowed and it comes up and it grows good, and you'll reap the benefits of it, is what I hope. So I'm sowing my seed the best way I can. My mother sowed her share. And I just hope this video blesses you, and I hope the ones before blessed you, and I hope the ones after blessed you. Blessings all. We love yous. I really wish I could have shared my mother with y'all, but it just didn't work out that way. But I'll share her with you the best way I know how. This is Justin at Metcalf Mills. I'm going to try to share some pictures with you at the end of this video. Like this video if you will, and share it, and subscribe to my channel if you've not already. I got some good stuff to share. And thank you, Mother, for all that you shared with me, and for all that you shared with us. And I look forward to seeing you next time.